Hey guys, welcome to App Distillery. I'm your host Anmol Behel, and this episode is UX of to-do list apps. So, what I'm going to talk about is basically in a format which will be easy to go through, um, and the format would be that I'll first talk about the logo. Is it attractive? What is it about? Does it have a design which is comprehensible? Um, then I'm going to talk about the onboarding experience basically. So, how do you actually onboard users? Do they understand how to navigate through the app? Is it easy to use? Does it have videos or GIFs or animation or transitions? Next up would be interface impressions. Here I'm going to talk about, is the UI friendly or is it easy to use? Does it have its own story? What is it about? And after that, and I think this is the most critical for me this year, is interface sounds. So sound in UX has been not appreciated enough, and in micro interactions especially, sounds can add greater value. So in all these apps that I'm going to go through, I'm going to take a mental note, and maybe you should too, if the sounds are interesting, if they pique your interest. So after this segment, I have something called this fantastic feature, which is one reason you should buy or use this app instead of others. And obviously after that we have the price. What does this app cost? How much burn damage is it going to cost on your wallet? And for this episode, since this is a comparison episode of all to-do list apps, I'm going to tell you about the app which is my personal favorite. So let's get started. And the first to-do app on my iPhone X is Any.Do. So talking about the logo, Any.Do has a blue gradient, so it's very smooth, and it has a small check mark on the bottom left corner to indicate that it's a to-do list app. Fairly simple enough. I wish there was something more complex or intricate, but this will do. So let's fire this app. So I'm on the onboarding screen now, and instead of basically bombarding users with permissions, it has an onboarding which is very simple, and it combines it with sign up page. So on the first tab of the app is the onboarding experience, where I see certain features which is enjoyable. Let's see. So it says get everything done, easily break down your big goals into actionable steps. This is good copy. Work together, live strategically. Okay, so maybe it's hinting us that maybe there's more to this to-do list app. Maybe it has advanced features, but it doesn't really go in detail what it is. So it has a few onboarding options. Continue with Facebook, Google, the email sign up and login. I know about the Cambridge Analytica debacle, and I know I'm a bit skeptical myself or whether I should delete Facebook or not. But to be honest, like, I don't care. I'm going to use Facebook for my app login because it's convenience, right? I'm going to just log in with my Facebook. Okay. So I'm logged in on my Facebook, and I'm going to continue. And here we are. We have, oh, that's interesting. So instead of taking me to the empty screen or an empty state, which is what we call in UX the first initial page that a user sees, Any.Do shows me something which is more aligned with the business goal. So it shows me Any.Do Premium. So I'm going to talk about the certain features such as color tags and lists. You can add recurring tasks. You can customize with the to-do list apps with the to-do list with themes, and you can work together. So perhaps you can sync with other person using the same sign in, and probably have I think it's more like Trello in that case. They don't advertise it, so I'm not sure yet. And something that for people who use Evernote a lot, I think this will be pretty handy, and that is unlimited attachments. So I think these are the main features that they advertise. And the premium subscription is either for all devices, billed monthly or annually, or it's for just one device. So as of now, I'm going to skip through these, and I'm on my first initial screen, and it has today. There are certain tasks that needs to be done today. There's tomorrow, upcoming, and someday. At the bottom, I have the main navigation. On the left, which is task. On the center, it's calendar. On the right, it's settings. And above that, it's like a conversational interface where there's a placeholder text which says I want to. So it's leading me on that I want to do this, and there's a plus icon which I can add as a task. So let's add I want to edit this podcast, and I hit the plus icon which has transformed into an up arrow, basically suggesting maybe this is to be sent today. And above this chat interface, I have few pills with the options like later today, this evening, tomorrow, next week, custom, and someday. So basically this is the scheduling option that they have. So I'm gonna go ahead and select later today, and I'm gonna hit send. Boom. Okay, so it's already added on my today list that I want to edit this podcast. So let's go through the interface once more. On the top, on the left side, you have a grid. It's a button which looks like dotted grid. So I'm going to tap on it. No sound yet. And basically, it's an overview of all the lists that you might have. So you have a list of all the tasks. You have work. You have personal. And you can add some more. You can also it's a segmented interface, so instead of my list I can go to tags, and here we have a splash screen which says you can unlock tags, colors, and get better organized with Any.Do Premium. And I think UX copy plays an important role. So the main CTA, the main button, it's blue and the text is white, and it says I need this, which is interesting. It could have said unlock premium or get premium, but it says I need this. And need is a very powerful word. It's very actionable. It has a weight on it. So it's interesting choice of words, I would definitely say. And right now on the top there's priority and no tags. I don't have any tags yet. So I'm gonna skip getting premium for this podcast, maybe later. So on the top you have my lists, tags, and there are two more options: search and a hamburger button, but it's not a hamburger, it's a vertical dots, 3 dots, ellipses. So I can search anything, very simple enough, and I press the ellipses and the hamburger menu, and I get few options such as sync, print, share. There's an option to get premium. There's an option called plan my day, settings, and notifications. So let's first head to plan my day. I am curious what it is. Okay, so it shows me a splash screen with the plan my day icon, which is 4 circular dots. They are green, orange, blue, and red. And the headline says welcome to your Any.Do moment. So basically the body copy, it says the Any.Do moment gives you a quick and easy rundown of the day's task. Okay, and it helps you prioritize and plan like a boss. Alright, let's try this right now. I want to feel like a boss, so I'm gonna go ahead and says got it, thanks. Oh, music. Okay, it says good morning Anmol, take a moment to plan your day. And below on the screen I have a task which is do homework, and it's a blue color dot. So on the bottom of the screen there's a legend that basically the legend says green is for today, yellow is for later, blue is for done, and red is for delete. Fairly straightforward. So I'm gonna say today, and I'm gonna say noon. And if you guys remember, the task that I added, I want to edit this podcast, shows up. And I can say it's not done, so I'm gonna postpone it for later. And it shows me more options such as tomorrow, in 2 days, next week, and someday. I'm gonna go ahead and select tomorrow. Okay. Make this day special. So, to be honest, Any.Do Moments, it was a hit or miss for me. I didn't really understand what it was. It kind of minimized all the UI and just focused me on my to-do list and asked me whether I want to do this. Has it been done? Or do I need to do it sometime else? Or do you want me to do I need to delete it? So I'm gonna say I'm not convinced of that feature yet. I might be in the future. Okay, so let's take a look at the next option, which is settings. Fairly straightforward layout. It's a list view and with headlines such as account, preferences, tasks, calendar, Any.Do, support. Nothing special here, but I can customize my preferred home screen, which is interesting. So it can be the last viewed screen, tasks, or calendar. I'm interested in what kind of themes they might have, but it's locked. The only one which I can select is blue color, so I'm going to go ahead and select blue. I go back to my tasks and everything is blue, which aligns with the brand color, which is a blue gradient, if you guys remember. Interesting. So on the main navigation, the top level navigation, on the left it's the grid. In the middle it's the headline which says all tasks. On the right there's a book icon with a red notification dot, and it's been bothering me. I don't know why. I'm gonna take a look at it. So it basically opens up notification sheets. It says how to make the most out of Any.Do. So it's a card layout, and there are 3 cards in front of me, and it says never miss a reminder. Okay, fair enough. The options are allow notifications and dismiss. So I'm going to go ahead and say allow notifications, and it gives me the notification sheet, and I say okay, accepted. The card disappears and I have 2 more left, which is hey Siri, meet Any.Do. So basically you can ask Siri to add a to-do list for the Any.Do app, and I don't want to connect with Siri because I barely use it. I feel it's much more faster to use your hands rather than to come up with phrasings and activate a voice interface. So I'm going to dismiss that. And the last one is Alexa. So this is cool. I mean, I have an Alexa Echo Dot. So basically this is a skill that Alexa can learn. I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss it for now for the same reasons that it's voice based. Oh, so this is interesting. So after I dismissed all the cards, the end screen is basically a brown color, brown or gray, and it says Any.Do's best tips and tricks will appear here when available. Okay, cool. So basically that book icon in the main navigation gives you tips. So I got that, I learned it, cool. So on the extreme right, I have a hamburger menu which is in the form of ellipsis, and it's closed in a circle. So basically the only differentiation is the circle, which tells me that this icon might be different. So I'm gonna hit that. Okay, so it gives me more options. So what I learned from this app is that the ellipsis menu has the same functionality in both the screens. Huh. Oh, okay. Got it. So the left menu is basically, it's a layout switcher. So right now I'm on a list view. If I tap on the grid, it's grid view. Got it. The only problem with this screen, I feel, is that the reason I didn't catch up onto this is because once I click on the grid view, the icon disappears. Usually when you have a grid switcher or a layout switcher as you might call it, the icon persists. It morphs into different shapes. So if it's a list view, it will morph into 3 lists. If it's a grid view, it will morph into a grid. But in Any.Do list, it totally disappears, and that's why I got confused. And the only way to go back to that list view is by tapping on all the tasks. Okay, interesting. So let's head to the calendar, which is the middle option at the bottom navigation. So it's a very cute screen, I would say. It shows me the current month and a day, and it also shows me certain tasks, but they are empty tasks or they're placeholder tasks. And there's a nice calendar icon with a smile on it, and it's very cute. And the copy says, "Let's begin by allowing Any.Do to access your calendar." Pretty straightforward, no fancy words here. So I'm gonna add it to my calendar. And okay, so then the bottom part of the screen refreshes and I see all my tasks. I can scroll through them and they're color coded, so that's nice, so I know which are holidays, which are from which calendar, and so on. I wonder if there's a way to customize the colors of these events. As of now, it doesn't show me that. Interesting. This is like a planner, I would say. This is for people who go by dates. So there are two kinds of people, right? I think people who go by tasks and people who go by days, the calendar view. So I think this is an interesting way for people to get onboarded and give them options to use the app however they want it. Unfortunately, they could have expanded the feature and given more detailed view, but if I rotate my phone in a landscape, they could have given more insights, but they don't. So that option is negated. It's not there at all. And the last option is settings. So in settings, as I said, it's the same options, but it's still on the primary navigation, apart from being in the ellipsis hamburger menu. So from an information architecture perspective, I'm not sure what was the thought process behind three ways to get into settings. I don't know what that ideology behind it was. Maybe there's a purpose, maybe I don't know. So this is Any.Do, and I'm gonna go back to my home screen. Boom, and let's go ahead with the second to-do list app. And this to-do list app, it has a, I'm gonna keep the details very short. It caught my eye on Dribbble. I came across this app on Dribbble and I found the UI very pleasing, very eye-catchy and bright. So I was waiting for the actual development to take place and for this app to be developed and be released on the App Store. And it has, and I think it got released 1 or 2 years back, I'm not quite sure. And this app is called Taskful. And Taskful has a pretty much simple icon. It's basically 3 tasks which are purple colored. It's basically bars. And let's fire this app. So the first screen is the onboarding screen, and it says say hi to Taskful. Okay, fair enough. The body copy says you're one step closer to total to-do domination. Now this phrasing, I like this. It makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel enabled, And I think as a UX designer or as a UX writer, one should be very careful about the words, and one should proactively look for words that can invoke feelings, that can make users happy or delighted. And in this onboarding screen, Taskful does that just the right way. So there's no okay, so in the onboarding I can swipe to see the different features, but the negative point that I would give to this app is that there was no way for me to know that there are more screens that can be swiped. As the designer, I just explore all the app with gestures. I go crazy with my fingers. So I was trying to swipe, and bingo, there are four app screens. And basically I'm gonna go through each of these app screens and I'm gonna tell you what it says. So the first one, which says kick your day into task, okay, and it talks about creating a task that is easy and it's beautiful, and I can choose a category and I can even get numerical with it. So what it's saying is, basically in most to-do list apps you can create a task, but here you can assign a value to these tasks. So maybe if you say drink 6 cups of water, 6 glasses of water, every time you say done, the task is done, it deducts those numbers. So 6 becomes 5, 4, and so on. So I'm gonna go to the next screen. It says a whole new meaning to multitasking, okay, which is simple enough. So basically the screen, it's showing me that if I have a task which says do 50 of 100 push-ups, it has a visual indicator of the amount that's been done. So this is a pretty interesting way to show how much has been done within a task. I don't know how many people use or will find this feature useful, but it's interesting. I'm gonna try this. The next onboarding screen says get friendly. Okay, what does that mean? Basically the screen says everything is better with friends. So okay, and here comes the business model of this app, which is you can assign a certain task and you can invite friends to do the same task. So you and your friend might say, let's do 50 push-ups, and it will show you exactly that this friend has done so many push-ups, this friend has done so many push-ups, you have done so many push-ups. So this is like a collaborative way of completing a to-do list, which is interesting, but it's a pro feature, mind you. And the end screen says what a boss, you're already becoming so productive. And the nice thing about the last screen was, as soon as I reached, there was confetti flying and I felt nice, but there was no sound. Sound was missing in this app. So let's hit continue, and this is misleading because continue means going into a certain process or continuing with something you already began, but in this case continue leads me to a sign up screen. So again, minus points for the CTA copy, I would say. So the headline says deadlines meet your match, goals meet your match. The words keep on changing, so it's nice. And I can register for free, or if I have an account I can log in. So I'm gonna register and I'm gonna fill this up. The form, it's straightforward. It doesn't, so I think the one thing that I don't like about this form is that in good form design, the labels should be clear and should not be hidden in any way, right? But here what they have done is that the labels are placeholder text within the text field. So as soon as I type, the label disappears. So for some reasons it can cause them to forget what the label was about, and they have to go back and erase everything they typed just to see the label, which is counterintuitive. So I'm gonna fill up the labels quickly. My first name, last name, email address, and a password. And one nice thing that they show here is that it directly says that the password should be 8 plus characters. Okay, so I get that. So I'm gonna type in my password. I'm not gonna tell you guys, it's a secret. And I register. Oh, and sadly I have already signed up for the service. So let me see if I can log in. Okay, logged in, and without giving me an empty screen. Again, this is a major frustration when you download an app and the first thing it shows you is, the notification prompts. I just hate it because there's no way for me to find out why do they need it. They should first have a partial state which says, okay, we are a to-do list app, we need notifications for you to know when this notification or this task is due. Okay, once you prime me for notification, then I can give you permission. Priming is an important factor in UX, especially when it comes to notifications. So I'm gonna say, okay, I give you permission, and I'm going to turn all the categories on. For it requires my health data, so I'm gonna turn all the categories on and I'm gonna allow it. Finally, I reach the home screen, and it's a big blue tooltip which says tap here to create your first task. Fair enough. I tapped, and oh, so using gestures I can swipe to change the category of the task. Cool. So I'm gonna say edit this podcast, and I can, so there are three main things I see from here. One is, the first is that the task can start today, or if I tap on today, it shows a menu slider, and I basically can scroll through dates and months. It's not a calendar view, it's more like a scroller, a horizontal scroller. So it's a bit jarring. I'm not used to this kind of an interface. I think it's not optimal, especially when you're selecting a date. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna select 13th, which is today. And I'm gonna add a subtask, which would be filter out noise, if any. And on the top right corner, I have two options. One is I can add a friend. There's a add a friend icon, and this is again where they show you their business model. So if I tap on add a friend, it shows me a screen which says Taskful Pro. It shows me the amount and the benefits of the app. I feel these are pretty standard features for a to-do list app. Some of the advanced to-do list apps, they already have this feature. One feature that stands out is Task with Friends. I think I really like that feature. So the business model, it's basically subscription based per month. So I'm gonna skip that for now. I'm gonna skip that option. I'm gonna change this category. So basically the background of the task changes if I swipe left or right to change the category, which is interesting. I don't have to remember the category, I just have to remember the color of the category, so it's nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and select pink, which is work, and I say done. So the first task is added, and I'm on the main screen now, and it shows me the hamburger menu, the day, and in the middle it shows me 0% of tasks done, which is true because there's only one task which has not been done, which is edit this podcast. So I'm gonna go ahead, and this time I'm gonna go to the hamburger button. So it's like a left, it slides on from the left, and it has a few things. On the top it says inbox, which is a pro feature. You can email task to Taskful. You have today, upcoming, whenever. In my opinion, whenever is, I don't think it's as effective of a word as someday, as we noticed in Any.Do, it says someday or sometime later. Because whenever it kind of indicates that, oh, I don't give a damn, whenever, I'll do it whenever. So it's very casual in terms of tone, but maybe that's their tonality of the brand. Below this, I have all my tags, which is general, work, charity, shopping, finance, and health, and I can add new category. And so at the bottom of the screen, I have 3 ellipses, and they look like page indicators, like you have in the iPhone. So I'm going to tap that. And basically it's okay. I thought it would be like a hamburger menu within a menu, but it's not. It's basically just like a page indicator. So I'm on the middle. I'm gonna go to the right, and I can add a friend here. There's a search box. I can type a friend's name, and I tap on it, and the first bug of the app is that I get a blank screen. There's nothing on the screen at all. It's just a background color of purple, and there's nothing. So I'm gonna go ahead and force quit this app. I'm going to launch it again. Hopefully this time it won't have this bug. And I'm back. I click on the hamburger menu, and I go to the left instead of the right, and I see my main settings. So I see my account name. It says that Taskful Pro is free for 1 month. Okay. Then there's something called as task sorting, so it can sort by reminder or by category, which is nice. And my favorite setting in all the apps these days is dark mode. I just love dark mode, and especially on iPhone X, which is an OLED screen, the interface just melts with the device. I think it's just brilliant, and I hope that in iOS 12 and in June, when WWDC happens, Apple releases universal dark mode. I think that will be dope. So I have the dark mode activated. I can deactivate it, and I can have a light mode. So I'm gonna go back to dark mode now. I have something as hide progress bar as setting. I have a keep device awake. I'm not sure if that's needed. It's not an alarm that needs the device to be awake, and I have account settings, then I have feedback options, and I have logout. Pretty straightforward for a to-do list app. So the cool feature, if you remember, was that a task can have value, right? So instead of saying do 50 push-ups, I can actually assign the value do 50 push-ups, and what it does is, as soon as it indicates a value, an integer, if I tap on it and so instead of tapping, I can swipe on the task to complete it or to delete it. So this is fine. It's easy to understand, but there's no haptic feedback. I think it would have been good to have a haptic feedback in this case. Okay, so I have do 50 of 50 push-ups, so I'm gonna go ahead and say to be honest, I can do 20. So I'm gonna swipe towards the edge, towards the right edge, and there's an indicator, the number, and it changes from 1 to the amount. I'm gonna set that 20, and on the main progress bar it says 20% done. Cool. So this is how Taskful works. Pretty straightforward, but one thing that I want to test out is if I add a task, let's say complete this task, and if I swipe it, Okay, so if I swipe it, it's done. But if it has a subtask, you can't swipe on it. Swiping does nothing. It just shows you the sliding indicator, but it does nothing, which is a disappointment. It's like breaking the UX law, because you're establishing that swiping right completes a task, but if it has a subtask, it does not complete the task. So you have to tap on an individual task and then select one of the subtasks and complete those out, and only then I see 100% done and there's confetti again. So it's interesting. This is something that's totally learned. I'm not sure I'm happy with this kind of a navigation as well as a UX strategy that they have for completing subtasks. So yeah, this is Taskful, and the interface is nice. Definitely, it's very it's like Dribble. You know how Dribble interface and the shots that come into Dribble. It's very nice looking, but they often fail when it comes to UX, and I think this is one of the results, and this is like one of the hallmarks that Dribble has, that it's people find shots which are easy and pleasing to look at, but the UX is not really thought out. So I'm not very satisfied with Taskful. Cool. Next up is a to-do list app that's unlike others, and I'm going to tell you why. This third app, it's called Soon, and I'll tell you a bit of a backstory. I was working in Sweden at an agency called 70, and one of the guys started this who was a colleague of mine, fantastic fellow. He started Soon, and I've been testing this app again and again. I download it, use it a couple of times, I remove it. So it's a very graphically enriching app. I would say it's not your typical to-do list app. It focuses more on visuals. So I'm gonna talk about how. So let's dive into this app. It's a gradient background of an app icon. It's pink, and the logo, it's a text which says Soon, but the O's are an infinity symbol, which is interesting because I don't know the story behind the infinity symbol. I think it's just there to look cool, because as a OCD freak, as an OCD person, you are hell-bent on completing all your tasks. You don't want to be stuck in infinity. You want everything to be done, correct? So I think maybe they just added it because it looks cool with double O, so why not, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and fire this app, and let's see what it's like. Okay, the first thing that strikes me is that the app is not optimized for the iPhone 8, the iPhone X, which is a bummer, but it's okay. I'll give them time to clean up. Okay, so the first screen that I see is that there's no onboarding right now. There's just the app logo, and which has a body copy which says Soon is an amazing way to keep track of the things you want to do next. Okay, and it has two options: get started and log in. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get started, and there's another screen with it transitions from the right to the left, and it's basically sign up screen, which is sign up with Facebook or sign up with email. I think this UX could have been improved. They could have get rid of the login button on the first screen. They could have just put the Facebook and the email option, and then have a login and then have a get started button. I think, anyways, I mean, this flow could have been simplified. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign up with Facebook again. There you go. I'm logged in on Facebook and I've signed up for soon. Okay, so while the profile is loading, it says loading all your stuff, loading your profile, and it uses emoji as well to convey a sense of fun in the app, which is nice. Okay, so I'm logged in. I'm on the home screen of the app, and to be honest, it feels very convoluted. So I'm gonna go through each of these options. On the top, the top navigation has my profile. It has a list view, and then it has a flight icon. So if I tap on the flight icon, it says this is where you can create list for cities you plan to go. Okay, straightforward, but it begs the question, why a separate tab just for cities? Couldn't it be as a separate category? Because on the home screen there are so many categories for to-do list. Instead of a typical, so imagine a typical to-do list app where you have today, tomorrow, later, and you can assign a task. The logic of soon is that all your to-do list app comprises of a category. So first, if you want to have a to-do, you have to select a category, and it has certain categories such as movies, TV series, books, stores, bars, cafes, so on. In my opinion, I think it kind of limits the kind of to-dos you can have or you can input in this app. But maybe that's not the real purpose of this app at all. It's more to track certain things like movies and stuff. And the reason why is that if I tap on movies and I add a new item, let's say I'm gonna add Black Panther. So it's going to search for Black Panther, and I'm gonna look for the movie. It's not here. Let's go with Ready Player One. If you guys know about Ready Player One, the book is amazing. It's just very nerdy, and if you're into video games, you'll love the book. So I'm gonna add Ready Player One, the movie, and it's been added. So I close this, and so what I see is that there's a title, Ready Player One, along with the director and the release date, and there's a thumbnail of the poster. That's the information. But if I tap on it, this is where Soon is very promising as an app, because it's very rich in media. So I tapped on Ready Player One, and I have this huge cover photo of Ready Player One. I can watch the trailer of it. I can share it. It also shows me the genre, the crew, cast, plot, the release date, and so on. So it's basically, instead of a to-do list, it's basically collecting main places, movies, shows, and showing you a rich view out of it without you leaving the app and going to IMDb, which is nice. The interface is pretty straightforward, but in my opinion, it just has too many options, and the iconography also does not have a lot of meaning. So I'll tell you why. On the bottom main navigation, I have 4 options without any text label, so I have to guess what they are. I'm on the leftmost side of it, and it's just 3 dots like bubbles, and I don't know what it means. I don't know what it's meant to convey. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap on my immediate right, which is a fire icon. So I was correct in assuming that it's a trending. So here I can see all the trending to-do lists. Basically I can see trending and selected. I think it's curated, I think. And I can also filter them out with my location. So I think this feature in Soon is like a discovery platform that they're aiming for. That if you're bad at discovering shows, just go to Soon, go to trending, and filter out by movies, TV series, books, restaurants. So this is interesting. You don't have to Google that stuff. It's all in this app, which is dope. It's nice. I like this feature, even though I don't use this app primarily. Okay, it's simple and straightforward. I can also add these tasks. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy as one of my to-do lists, and I'm gonna head back. And what it does is all your to-do lists are categorized, right, by movies and books and music and so on. So if you have a task within music, it gets a special indicator, which is a dot. There are two indicators on the right of the category. One is an empty dot, it's not filled, and the other is filled. So a filled dot indicates that you have certain tasks within a certain category. So this is, again, it's a subtle UX strategy that they have. I'm not sure if it's really helpful or not. I'm gonna let you guys decide on it. The next two options are add a friend, or it's not add a friend, it's basically activity that I can see of all my friends who I'm connected to on Facebook who are using this app, and I can also search them. And the last is an inbox. Okay, so this is confusing because it's basically like an inbox tray for mails, but the page actually is notifications. So the icon here is misleading. So, but the saving grace, I would say, is that they have an empty state which says no notifications yet, and the use of an emoji. They're using an emoji and they're saying that there are no notifications yet. Cool. Overall, I feel that this app needs a lot of work to streamline. I feel that it's all over the place. There's too much social element in this app. It's not really a to-do list. It's more like, okay, I watched this movie, I'm gonna add it. I want to watch this movie. So I would rephrase this. It's not a to-do list app. It's a to-want app. To want. It's like a want list, basically. Okay. So that's it for soon. And we are down to two more apps. And I'm gonna go ahead with the fourth one. And this should be interesting because it's quite famous. You guys probably know about it. This app is called Todoist. And Todoist, the logo, it's sharp. Basically, it's a red background with chevrons, 3 chevrons pointing downwards. But it's like cropped to the left, so it looks like it's a check mark, which is nice. Obviously the logo, it can be improved because I can see it's not a tick mark, it's a chevron. I can make that distinction. So let's go ahead and fire this app up. I'm on the splash screen right now, and the first thing I see is that the first half has the onboarding, akin to Taskful, and the second half of the screen has the sign up. Welcome to Todoist. Create an account to save your tasks and access them anywhere. It's free, forever. Okay, this is a nice copy in my opinion. It's comforting, and of course, who doesn't love free stuff, right? The second screen is, the headline says organize work and life. Okay, and there's a cute illustration. It's the illustrations in this app, they're all in the same color palette as the app, so it's all the shades of red and white. There's no multicolor illustrations, so that speaks a lot about the brand, that they are sticking to the brand guideline, to the UI guideline. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign up with Facebook. They have 3 options: continue with Google, Facebook, and continue with email. I'm gonna go ahead and continue with Facebook. Sad thing is, somehow I have to log in on this and it's gonna take some time. So my password, and okay, I should be logged in by now. Okay, so the first screen, it's like an empty screen. It had a nice quote by Dalai Lama, but it just zoomed past me. I could not even see what it said. Again, the first thing after the quote is that it's a notification pop-up. Again, like I said before, you must prime users for notifications. Cool. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and say allow. And this is nice. The first home screen, the home screen has a very nice illustration of a person pointing towards the stars and says, "You're all done for today. Enjoy your night." Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a task. And they're using the Google material kind of a button, the floating action button on the right. It's a plus icon and I can add a task. So I'm gonna say schedule a meeting with my sound editor, and below this I have a complex set of options, some of which I don't even understand. There's no text label. The first option looks like a calendar. It is a calendar, so I can set a time. I can set a due time. Second is, it's a category, whether this is personal, work. Third is tags, but it's disabled for some reason. Fourth is the kind of priority this to-do list has, which is nice. For fifth option is add a friend. It's disabled again. Maybe it's a pro feature. And the last option is, it seems like it's a chat option, but it's not very clear. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add this task. Done. And let's go back to the menu, and this is a bit confusing, to be honest, because on the home screen, in order to go to the menu, there's a back icon, and if I tap on it, it goes to the menu, right? But it's very complicated. If I want to go back to my initial screen, I have to scan and read which option will take me back, and the correct option is today. So there are three options: inbox, today, next 7 days, and I have to click on today. And I'm not a fan of this. I think it should be made abundantly clear how to go back, how to close this option to this menu. And okay, so I'm on this settings on this menu icon, and I can sort my projects by categories. I can label them, I can filter it, and on the top navigation there are three things. On the left I can see a statistics of how many tasks that I've done, and it shows me in a nice graph. And you can see them in daily, weekly, in a weekly format as well, but it's a pro feature. And I can also see my karma. So basically, karma levels work as the number of tasks that you do gives you karma levels, right? So I don't have that much of karma. I'm a bad person, I guess. So the next option is notification, and there's nothing on it. There's just an empty state which says your journey towards higher productivity begins today, and which is the notification I got by completing a task. And the last option is settings, and the settings take me to the general settings, account, theme, productivity, notifications, feedback, about the app, and logout. So I'm going to go with the theme because customizing an app, it's my favorite thing. So I'm going to go with theme, and I'm going to, so there are multiple options. There's Todoist, Noir, Neutral, Tangerine, Sunflower. So some of these themes are pro features, and these features you can unlock them if you buy a subscription. So Todoist offers a premium subscription, and it will basically, it's like an upgrade. You don't need it, it's totally optional, but yeah, it just provides it in case for pro features. And I'm gonna go ahead and play around with this app. I've selected a dark theme because I like dark interfaces. Oh, this is interesting. So I'll tell you what happens. So I selected a theme, right? And if you guys remember the initial home screen, it had a nice illustration of a person pointing towards the moon. The color of the illustration changes. Wow. So this is a very nice touch. I think this is really well done. Hats off to these guys. Cool. And now I'm gonna head back to the last and final app of this podcast, and it's called Clear. If you're going to the App Store, it's called Clear To-Dos. And let's talk about the app icon. So a bit of backstory here. Clear was one of the first to-do list apps to hit the App Store, and the way it differentiated itself was by the fact that this app is totally gesture driven, totally. And that's what got me into this app. So the app icon, it's fairly simple. It's a check mark, and with the heat map as a background. So there's a reason for that. I'm gonna tell you the reason when I open this app up. So this app, it's by impending. I'm not sure if it's impending. I think, let me just Google that. Yep, it's by impending.com, and on their Twitter they had a sneak peek, and they're saying that they're going to relaunch this app with a totally different with a totally new code and interface. So I'm very excited about this. Okay, so let's start this app. Straightforward. The onboarding says welcome to Clear, tap or swipe to begin. Okay, so on the onboarding it shows me the heat map of tasks, and I can sort these items by priority. But the way to do it, and this is what really got me into Clear, the way to sort out a priority is not by tapping an icon and assigning it a priority. It's by holding the task and moving it up and down towards the list, and that's how you assign a value. So if you can hear it, the app has sounds. It has interface sounds, which is what I really like. It's tactile, and it lets me feel that I'm in control, because with sounds you're directly manipulating a UI. It feels nice. So here's this. Yep, those are the sounds for the onboarding. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use iCloud because I've used this app before, I have all my data. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my iCloud. Okay, I'm logged in. And so again, Clear sends out a pop-up which says, would you like to have notifications? Okay, I'm gonna allow it. So done that. And the sweet thing about this app is that it teaches you how to operate this app by assigning to-dos as a task itself. So as a user, suppose you download this app, right? You're trying to understand, how do I complete this task? Well, it says right here, it says swipe to the right to complete. Okay, I'm gonna tap and swipe. Done, it's completed. Swipe to the left to delete. Okay, tap and hold to pick me up. Okay, I'm holding it. There's a nice pop sound, and I can assign a value to it by going up or below. I can complete it. Completed another task. Oh, but it was a mistake. I want to undo it. So the question is, how do I undo this task? It's pretty simple. I just shake my iPhone and I get an option to undo the task. Pretty neat. And I can, basically the metaphor that Clear is going for is very paper based. It's very tangible. So if I take two of my fingers and pinch them apart, a new task is created in between those tasks, which is super cool. And if I pinch in, the whole to-do list collapses into categories. So I have certain categories that I've named, such as personal, quotes, documents, ideas, design principles, and so on. So this is, I just love the gestures here. It's easy to grasp. You might have to practice them a bit, but it's super simple. But that's not where the fun ends. The fun ends when you actually collapse the list and you collapse it again. That's where it takes you to the settings. There's no navigation, it's just all gesture based. And the settings are my lists, sounds, themes, tips and tricks, newsletter, and settings. If you're a customizable person, if you like to customize things, you're going to love the assortment of themes Clear has. It has more than 10 themes and they're all gradient based. My personal favorite is rainbow. Okay, so here's a secret tip that I'm going to show you, tell you guys who are the podcast listeners. If you want to unlock a majority of these themes, you have to download certain apps. And if you download those apps, you will unlock that theme. So for example, if you download Temple Run, you will receive a Temple Run theme. If you download Tweetbot, vice versa, you get that theme. So I love it. It's like, small Easter eggs within the app, which I really love. And of course the sounds. So the Clear app comes with 3 sound packs, 2 of them which you can purchase and as an in-app purchase. The first is Clear, which is a default sound pack, and second is science sci-fi, and the third is 8-bit. So I'm gonna go with sci-fi. I'm going to walk you through the sounds. So I'm going to select sci-fi and I go back to my list, and let's say I had a task, I completed. Interesting sounds. I'm gonna go back to my settings, select 8-bit, which is a video game theme sound. So I'm gonna go back to my list, add a task, complete a task. You heard that coin flip? You wanna hear it again? Let's hear it again. So satisfying. Wow. Cool. So this covers the sounds of Clear app. And now you might be wondering, well, Anmol, how much damage does this cost? Well, I'm here to tell you that most of these apps are free. Any.Do is free, Taskful is free, Soon is free, Todoist is free forever, but Clear is for $4.99 plus the in-app purchases for the sounds, and one more thing. The last segment of this podcast is, if you guys remember, is which app is my favorite, and now is the time. So the answer is the favorite app that I use is Clear. That's because it's totally gesture driven. It has customizable themes, and the interaction is just brilliant. For an iOS app, for any mobile app, this is like the hallmark for interaction, I would say. It's very tactile, tangible, real-time animation. This is why I like this app. So once again, 5 apps: Any.Do, Taskful, Soon, Todoist, and Clear. And well, it's been a great time talking to you guys, and talk to you guys till the next one.